Hi everyone, good morning. Can you please confirm me in online people are able to hear?
Yes, Ravi.
Okay, thanks for confirmation. I hope everyone is attend for the last demo for what we conducted yesterday. If you missed that, please ping me to my WhatsApp number. We'll send that particular video to you. You can watch it. So let's continue with our class. What we had a discussion in the yesterday class. In yesterday class, we'll try to understand what is the Fusion application. We'll try to understand what's the difference between the on-premise versus cloud application. And we understand what is the architecture diagram. We understand that. So we'll try to understand yesterday we started the concept called as what is the enterprise structure in the Fusion application? What kind of structure we have in the Fusion application? That's what we started topic in yesterday. So we taking the very generic structure in yesterday. So we understand in the Fusion, if you want to create any structure, the top layer is we have the enterprise HCM information. We went to that particular screen also, what we have the options. So in enterprise HCM information is the top layer in this particular structure. You want to create any organization structure, the top layer is enterprise HCM information. So that particular enterprise HCM information, we have the enterprise description, nothing but that when you getting the fresh environment, first we can go to this particular screen and we are going to give the client name, which client you are implement that. You are implement the Cisco or SailPoint or which client you implement the project. The client name we are going to give that. When the client is established the business, the date will be provided that. And we are going to the location where the client globally registered. The location we are going to share to in the enterprise level. After that, we have a couple of options is available. So when you implement the core HR, hire any employee in this particular enterprise level, what is your particular workday information? Nothing but the employee is working in the organization. Definitely, we have the workday information. Employee weekly, how many hours it will be work, and what is the working starting time, what is the working ending time. This all this information we are going to provide it at the enterprise level, and we have the enterprise
Sorry to interrupt, it's not audible.
Yeah, now it is audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Just give me. So we have the enterprise HCM information level. We have that particular level, what we have that. So we have the workday information, the employee is working on what is the hours information, and enterprise information. In the enterprise information, what information we are going to provide. So we have a couple of options. When you hire an employee, the employee should have some person number, some worker number, we have that. So how person number it will follow that, how worker number it will follow that. And if you hire an employee, which language you want to be hired an employee, like globally, which name you want to show it, the employee name, whether it's the US, whether it's Arabic, which language you want to show that. And when you hire an employee, how duplication check it will be happen. These are all these things, how your as an employment model, whether it's two-tier model, two-tier single assignment, these all employment models is available in your particular enterprise HCM information level. It is the top layer. So if you talk about your organization structure, that is the top layer of your particular enterprise HCM information. So we went to the screen and we understand what are the things available in this particular screen. Also, we understand in yesterday class. And after that, after enterprise HCM information, what we have that? We have the division concept. Division is an optional concept, not a mandatory concept. So why we create the division? It's for the reporting purpose. So you can create the division based on the geography base. Nothing but that I have the business in the US, I have the business in the UK, I have the business in India. So you can create the US division, and you can create the UK division, and you can create the India division. Based on the geography base, you can create the divisions, or you can create the divisions based on the product base. You have the different products, nothing but that. Your client having the retail company, infra company, IT company, different businesses, your client having that. And each business you can consider as your particular product. Based on the product base also you can able to create your division. So nothing but that you want to create the divisions in the product base means, so you can create US retail division, US infra division, US IT division, UK infra division. Same way, like a product, and you can mix it with your particular geography. Geography in the sense country, you can mix it, and you can create with your particular divisions, you can able to generate that. After divisions, we have the concept we call as a legal entity concept. So yesterday we went to the division screen also, we understand how it is look like division screen. So after that, next concept we call as, after divisions we have the concept we call as a legal entity concept. What is the legal entity? Legal entity is nothing but the legal information of your organization. When you register the company in the government, nothing but that when you start the business in the US, the retail company, you need to register with government of law. So when you reach the government, we have the legal information. That all legal information we are capturing with your particular entity. So in the Oracle terminology, legal entity means legal information of the organization. When you start with retail business in US, you need to register to government. When you start with infra business in US, you need to register to the government. That all legal information we capture the client, and we are going to enter our particular legal entity. So the legal entity it will do in the two things. The legal entity will capturing the legal information, and legal entity it will capturing employees information. When you say you have the retail company in US, when you say infra company in US, when you say IT company in US, you have the three companies in US. How you gonna hire an employee? How you gonna hire an employee in this particular scheme? So when you want to hire an employee, how your employment model? So in the retail company, you want to be hired as separate. Infra company, you want to hire it separate. IT company, you want to hire it separate. Otherwise, how your employment model? You have the three companies, but employee hiring process happen. Maybe it is an IT company. What are you have the requirement entire US? You want to hire an employee, only one company, or each and every company you want to hire it. So that employment model, how it will happen. So the legal entity screen, it will be having the one checkbox, that is the legal employer checkbox. If you enable the legal employer checkbox, system will can understand, okay, this legal entity is going to capture the financial information. This legal entity is going to capture the employer's information also. And when the moment you enable the legal employer checkbox, the system will immediately ask you that, so where you want to run the payroll? So, okay, you're going to hire an employee. So which legal entity you want to payroll? You're going to run the payroll. The same legal entity you want to make the payment to your employee, or a different legal entity you want to make the payment to your employee. So how your payroll is happen. The same page you can able to see the legal employer checkbox, and you have payroll station unit checkbox. The two checkbox you have there. So in the Fusion legal entity, it will do two things. One is the financial information. Second one is your employees information. If you are in the e-business suite, what we have the options in the BG level, business group level. So we don't have any BG concepts in the Fusion application. That BG, it will replace it. What we have the future, what we have the flexibility in the BG, that all features they bring into the legal entity level in the Fusion application. That's what we have the change who having the Oracle apps people. Okay. So this is what we discussed in yesterday class, enterprise HCM information, divisions, and legal entities we discussed. After legal entity, we have the concept we call as if you implement the payroll, if you want to implement the payroll for this Fusion application, in this particular structure, after legal entity, the ledger is coming the part. After legal entity, the ledger is coming the part. If you implement the payroll, if you are not implement the payroll, the ledger is not a part of this particular organization structure, this particular enterprise structure. If you want to implement the payroll, ledger is coming the picture. Why it is coming the ledger is the picture? What is the importance of the ledger in this particular structure? So basically ledger, if you have, we plan for the three countries, that means we have the three primary ledgers we need to create. Why means in US, UK and India, you will plan it, this particular structure. That means you should be create your US primary ledger, you should be create. US primary ledger you need to be create, and we need to be create UK primary ledger we need to be create, UK primary ledger we need to be create, and we need to be create India primary ledger we need to be create. So the three primary ledgers we should be created if you want to implement three countries, nothing but based on the currency base. So here if you see, in US, your currency is the USD, and UK, your currency is the GBP. In India, your currency is the INR. So if you implement the three countries, you should be creating the three prime ledger. So what is the important? Why, as a HCM consultant, is the need for this particular ledger book means? So when you implement the payroll, let me explain the background of ledger book, why we require. When you implement the payroll, first company call as you can take the company call as a retail company can take it. Retail company can take it. So for suppose you can take it from retail company means your client having the retail stores. Maybe you can take it retail supermarkets, you have that, the client having the entire US. Maybe he having 10 supermarkets is having that. So in order to maintain the 10 supermarkets for the client, what he need that? He need to be hired an employee. You need to be hired an employee, you need to be hired. So maybe in order to maintain these 10 supermarkets, the client is hiring 100 employees. So if you hire 100 employees, what we need to do that? If you hire 100 employees, you should be make the payment at the end of the month. So nothing but that, you need to run the payroll. So when you run the payroll, what happens? The payroll is happened based on the expense. It will come to your particular expense. So you are making the payment means that's the expense you are making the payment. So in order to maintain this particular supermarket, in the retail stores, what you need that? You need to buy the items. So in the supermarket, you need to buy the items with the different vendors, and you need to sell to the different customers. You need to buy it from the grocery, you need to buy it from the electronics, you need to buy all items, you need to buy it. So you need to buy the items from different suppliers, you need to buy the items. If you buy the items, what do we need that? We need to make the payment. If you make the payment, what happens? That is also expensive. From organizational point of view, that is also is going to be expensive, it will come. So once you buy the items and you put onto all items into the supermarket, finally you need to sell the item. So once you sell the item to the different customers, you are selling that. So you sell the item, what happens? You will get the revenue, you will get that. So nothing but that, you are getting the revenue, it will be generated. So nothing but that, you are collecting the money through the receipts with your customers, and finally what will generate that? It will revenue and generate that. So finally, when we do this all activities, what happens means system is automatically generate the journal. When you run the payroll, the backend system is automatically generate the journal. Journal means which account is a debit, which account is a credit. That's what is a journal. If you run the payroll, some account is a debit, some account is a credit. So if you make the payment means some account is a debit and some account is a credit. You collect the money means customer, some account is a debit, some account is a credit. This all information system will be captured by the journal format, and those journals we are sending to your particular ledger books. Those journals we are sending to those journals. So those journals we are sending to our particular ledger book. There we are going to be create our particular balance sheet. So your CEO and CFO, what he required, he need to be see the balance sheet, profit and loss balance sheet. Particular month is the profit is coming or loss is coming, and what is the balance sheet we have for the entire year. So there's all those things we are going to be created. All reports we are going to create it for your particular ledger book. So that's where we have the ledger book is important for the one point. And second point, when you implement the payroll, the client will ask you the costing. So you run the payroll, that's a fine. You run the payroll, the employee will receive the amount, that is the fine. But the client need the costing of the employees. So I have the particular company, when I run that, what is the costing of that particular employee? Nothing more. What is the amount is happened? What is the expenses happened from the particular company, particular payroll? Or if client is asking particular department, you want to identify the costing. So particular, I have the HR department, that particular HR department, what costings happen, I want to identify that. So otherwise, I have the particular location. I want to identify what is the cost is happened. Particular location. So I want to identify what is the cost. I want to identify that. And I want to otherwise, I have the different products. Particular product, I want to identify what is the costing is happening. Particular product, I want to identify what is the costing. So this is a way a lot of requirements to identify the employee costing. So you run the payroll, but the client has a reporting purpose. You need to identify that.
Excuse me, getting some noise from other side.
Yeah, let me put on the mute. Yeah, thank you. So this way, the client need to be identify the costing of your particular employee. So you want to identify the costing of the particular employee, means that case also we need particular ledger book. So if I go for in detail, on the payroll side, we are going to use the sum of the key flex field, and ledger book side, we are going to use the sum key flex field. We are merging the both of them. So that's where the all information payroll to your ledger book, it will come. Using of the ledger book, we are going to be generate the all reports. So only one thing, as a HCM consultant, when the ledger book is coming the point, when you implement the payroll. Until unless if you are not implement the payroll, there is no need of the ledger book for as a HCM implementation, human capital management implementation. Okay. So if you want to be create your ledger book, so we need 4 C's we require. So that's what we have. Currency, and that's what we have calendar, and that's what we have chart of account, and that's what we have accounting conversion method. So these are the 4 C's we used to call as calendar, currency, chart of account, and accounting conversion method. Usually, if you are the financial team is available in your project, as the financial team is going to be create this particular ledger book. If there is no financial team who are involved the payroll implementation, those people need to be created with this particular ledger book in your particular organization structure. So in most of the cases, it's involved with the financial persons to create this particular ledger book. So if there is no financial people, calendar means all accounting dates it will pick up from your calendar. If you run the payroll, definitely you have the dates. Which date you run the payroll. All accounting dates it will pick up from your particular accounting calendar it will pick up. Chart of account, how it will be designed, just now we discussed that. The chart of account we design based on the requirement base. So what exactly the client is expecting the costing. So you have the company level you want to identify, department level you want to identify, location level you want to identify, the product level you want to identify, or any other level you want to identify. Based on that, we'll be create our particular chart of account structure will be created and we'll associate with our payroll. Okay, so that's where our chart of account will be created. If you're not implement the financial in this particular product. Accounting conversion method means which method you are going to be record your accounting transaction. I told you that when you run the payroll, automatically system will be generate the journal. How it will be generate the journal means which method you associate to here. Based on the method based system will be automatically create those particular journals. We don't require to do anything. We don't require any financial knowledge. Just you can do the configuration. Based on the configuration, system will be reflect. System will be generate all journals. It will be generated. But it's purely when you implement the payroll only, it will come the picture. Otherwise, it's not important. So after ledger book, what we have the concept. After ledger book, we have the concept we call as a business unit. We have the concept. We have the concept called as a business unit. We have the concept. So how are we going to create the business unit? Basically, we have the 3 companies means we're going to create the 3 business units. The base, as a consultant, at least we suggest to go for each company, go for at least separate view. As a HCM consultant, so this is the entity. This is the entity. If you want to create, if you want to hire it in employee, your business unit is a mandatory. So as a HCM consultant, how this particular business unit is useful? The business unit concept is not only for HCM, it's all product families, more financial, procurement, SCM, all product families is involved this particular business unit concept. Why the HCM product family as a HCM consultant, how it is useful for the particular business unit means, based on the business unit, we can able to design our particular security. The security in the sense, let's try to understand. So usually what happens means, if you understand the core HR module, usually what kind of users we have that? We have the 2 kinds of users usually. So what is we have that? We have the HR. So who is going to maintain the all person records, like employer records, who is going to maintain that? The HR will do that. And we have the another area, we have the recruiter. So what recruiter can do that? as for the requirement, as for the requisition base, the recruiter can able to hire it an employee. So usually we have the two kinds of users. One is HR, second one is the recruiter. So as a HR, I have that. So what kind of employee records you want to allow to maintain it? So for suppose this is a HR, is working on the some in US, some HR department. Otherwise you can take the US. He's the HR from the US particular company, retail company. So he's HR from the US retail company. You want to allow to see the US infra company employees, US IT company employees. He's HR from the US retail company. I want to allow to see the only for US retail company, what are the employees are available, those employee records only I want to allow to see the particular HR. Otherwise, I have the requirement, this is a HR in US retail company, particular department only I want to allow to see the records. Otherwise, I have the requirement, here's the HR, US, I want to be allowed to see the particular business unit employees who are working in the US and the particular BU, what are the employees are available, those employee records only I want to allow to see that. So I have the recruiter, I want to be allowed to be hired. He's working on the US retail company, but still I want to be hired an employees only particular BU. I have the in US retail itself. US retail itself, I have a couple of BUs. So maybe you can take it, I have 5 BUs, 5 business units. So in US retail company, I'll divide it into the 5 business units. How, otherwise 4 business units I have. I'll be divided in US retail company, how I can divide in the BU1. It's available US South Uni is available. So I can give the US South BU and US North BU. And you can take it US West BU. So you can create this based on your requirement. Simple example, you can take it from I have the US North and US South. So entire US I have, simple example, I have the 10 retail stores I have that. Available in the North Zone. Maybe in South Zone I have the 6 retail stores and the North Zone I have available in the 4th retail store I have that. So who are working in the employees in the South Zone, it's coming to the retail BU1. Who are working in the North Zone, it will come to your retail BU2. So here I have the recruiter. I want to be, this is the recruiter. I want to be allowed to hire employees only for South BU. He cannot able to hire an employee in the North BU. Why means he is the recruiter for only South Zone. South Zone, when the opening is coming, the recruiter is going to fulfill that particular requirement to fulfill that. So you want to be maintain this kind of security. It's a useful for that particular business unit. For the HR, HCM perspective, when you come into the financial, we'll give the separate definition, separate kind of explanation. But as a HCM perspective, how the business unit is useful for me, so majorly it's useful for the security perspective, it will be useful, but it's a mandatory. If you want to hire an employee, if you go for the hire an employee page, you can able to see the 2 things is a mandatory. One is the legal entity is a mandatory. Second one is the business unit is a mandatory. If you have the legal entity and business unit, you can complete your hiring process. Remaining all options, all things are optional, not mandatory. But 2 things is a mandatory. One is the legal entity. Second one is a business unit. You want to see the legal entity in your particular employee hiring page, definitely you should be have that particular legal entity should be having the legal employer checkbox and payroll station checkbox. If you are unable to do checkbox, the legal entity is visible in your particular employee hiring page. And second thing is that if you create the business unit is visible in your employee hiring page. So that's what we have. The business unit is useful. But so as for the consultant, we gonna suggest you that at least one legal entity, one company, at least go for one BU. So that means in UK we have the 2 BUs. And India we have as for our example, India have the 1 business unit we have, 1 BU we have that. So that's what is a business unit concept. In e-business suite we have the operating unit concept. In Fusion we have the business unit concept. After business unit, what we have that? And after business unit, we have the concept we call as a data set concept. That is the reference data set concept. So we used to call as a reference data set, or we used to call as a data set. So that is the concept after business unit concept. So the data set concept of how it is useful means it's useful to share the configuration data one business unit to another business unit. For suppose I have the US, I create the one location. The same location you want to visible it in UK as for your requirement. So I have the US, we have the UK, you have the India. You can take it. We have the India. So I create some location in US. You want to visible it in UK or not? If you want to visible, yes, I can able to, using up the data set, I can able to share that particular location to the UK. And you create some job in US. The same job you want to see it in UK. So you create in the department in US. The same department you want to see it in UK. You create in the grade. So the same grade you want to visible in UK or not. That's all. So depend upon your particular data set level we use to configure. Let me open some Excel sheet. Let me initiate a recording. Let me show the core HR course content. Just give me 1 minute.